Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Quepp and I'm here to help you sharpen your masculine edge. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the difference between a restrictive approach to self-mastery versus an amplification approach to self-mastery. And understanding the difference between these two is very often the difference between success and failure. Alright, so welcome back everybody. I'm so glad to have you here with me again. Hopefully you've been having a great summer. Mine's been pretty good. Been a little bit busy. Had a lot of stuff going on. So the video output is not quite where I want it to be, but hey, that's how life is sometimes. But here I am. I'm happy to be back with this video. So let's get to it. This is about self-mastery, right? And that's an integral part of being a universal man or just being a good man. You need to be able to make sure that your higher orders, the desires and values, come to play in your actions rather than these, lower, lesser impulses. But the question is, how do you do this? And I've seen in my work and in myself a big mistake in the approach to developing this self-mastery. Essentially, it's a restrictive approach. It's this idea that you can kind of just lock down these troublesome impulses or these troublesome parts of yourself. You can just restrict them, throw them in jail, put a prohibition on them, and somehow that's going to get you to show up as a better person. So, for example, like if you're trying to quit porn, the restrictive approach would be to say, I'm not going to think about porn, I'm not going to look at it, I'm not going to do anything, just focusing all on this negative, all on pushing away. If you're trying to use this restrictive approach around work, like say you wanted to work harder, be more disciplined, then you would just try to squash any, desires or thoughts about goofing off. If you're trying to use this restrictive approach to get yourself to show up and talk to a girl, maybe ask her on a date or something, then you would just be focusing on all the things you don't want to say. You'd be focusing on, how to avoid embarrassing yourself. The issue is this approach doesn't work. And if you followed any of my other work, you've heard of me use this analogy, the pink elephant problem, okay? And the way that works is if I tell you to don't think about a pink elephant, don't think about a pink elephant at all. Just think about anything but a pink elephant. Don't think about a pink elephant. What do? You think about a pink elephant. And this is because our brain is an associative machine. So by its very nature, trying to restrict something to change your behavior, trying to prohibit something from entering into your thoughts, emotions, whatever, automatically that actually brings attention to that thing and actually increases the energy around it. So this is a lot of the reason why taboos, sometimes people get so hung up on getting fascinated with taboo things, because they've kind of constructed or society has constructed some sort of something that's off limits, and all of a sudden they want it. It's just a basic part of human nature. You tell someone that they can't have something, all of a sudden they want it. And it gets really bad when you make this actually a part of your lifestyle, when your whole lifestyle is built around trying to trap yourself, to constrict yourself, and hopefully, force out some good by doing that. But in reality, you just kind of end up feeling like, you're living in a prison, desperately wanting to break free. And if breaking free means being bad, well then freedom and being bad kind of feel like the same thing, and that's where stuff really starts getting confusing for people. So basically, this whole restrictive mentality, it just doesn't work. So I believe the solution is to focus on amplification. Instead of trying to restrict your desires, you need to focus on amplifying the truth, amplifying your higher desires. And this really works so much better, because the things that you really want, when you amplify them, they actually are usually much bigger and much more powerful than these little lower desires that are causing you problems. When you amplify the truth, that is much more powerful, because your brain is, designed to try and function on the truth as much as possible. It's trying to function on, the ultimate outcome. It's really trying to give you the best result. And the best result is usually going to come when you're working with truth, working with an accurate map of reality. So that's what you want to do. You want to focus on amplifying these parts rather than restricting the trouble. Because when you amplify the good, it automatically overshadows and overpowers the bad. So if you're trying to quit porn, you don't want to just, stuff every thought about porn down. You just want to actually amplify the truth about porn. So, the truth is that, they're actors. This is fake. This is, beneath you. It steals your energy. It causes addiction. It causes problems. It does all these things. It'll make you unhappy. You focus on magnifying that truth, and all of a sudden, you don't want the porn as much, and you're living a better life. If you're trying to be more disciplined in work, then you need to think about the truth of how working harder is going to benefit you, or how not working harder is going to hurt you. It creates this psychological, vision that creates desire and power and all this kind of stuff. So you want to amplify this stuff. And if you are struggling to talk to a girl, well, again, if you focus on amplifying the elements of yourself that are good and trying to share them, it's much better than just focusing on all the things you shouldn't be doing and getting all self-conscious and that sort of thing. And you're going to come off much more confident and much more, it's going to be a much easier process. So not only is this amplification approach more effective, it's also just a better way to live, because from this approach, the way that you live well is by finding your highest desires and turning them up to 11. And that's just, you enter into this kind of radiant state of being, which I think is what a universal man is all about. It's about, radiating from your core, from your most inner goodness and truth, and having that, spiral out into all of your actions and the way that you show up in the world. Now, the biggest problem of walking this path of amplification is that in the short run, it's actually a bit more painful, because when you bring the truth, when you amplify the truth, especially in a moment of struggle, what you're essentially doing is inducing a state of cognitive dissonance within yourself. So think about it, all right? Imagine you are trying to quit porn, all right? And you want some porn, okay? You want to go jerk off or whatever. And what you do then is you do what I say. You amplify the truth. You realize, okay, this isn't actually going to make me happier in the long run. It's actually going to make things worse, that kind of stuff. If you hold that truth up in that moment of desire, one part of you, the emotional part, more or less, is thinking porn is good, I want it. But then this other part saying, no, it's bad, and I don't want it. And this is a clash. This is, it hurts in your brain. It is psychologically uncomfortable. It's this psychological discomfort of holding, a rational truth up against, an emotional bias or impulse. It's this discomfort that makes people reach for the restrictive mentality, because the false promise of this restrictive mentality is that you can just silence one part of the conversation and have an unopposed mind. You get to avoid the cognitive dissonance. You get to avoid the internal battle. It's the false promise that you can become the person that you want to be without fighting for it, without ever actually having, the throwdown between the tyranny of your conditioning and, irrational impulses and, your higher truths and values. And I hate to break it to you, but there's no shortcut here. There needs to be this battle. But the key is in recognizing that it's the discomfort of this battle that actually drives the transformation process. You see, the way I think about it is like that state of cognitive dissonance. That's almost like, it's like overloading a muscle a little bit. Like the way you increase a muscle's strength is you have to break it down, and that becomes the growth stimulus. And the breaking down process is very, it's uncomfortable. You got to lift some heavy weight. You got to do some hard work to force the adaptation. The same thing goes on the mental layer, in a sense. It's like you have to induce this state of cognitive discomfort by holding truths up against lies, or holding, higher beliefs against, lower, more negative beliefs. And this clash, this tension, this is what drives new wirings in the brain. It allows your mind to open up to new layers of nuance and understanding and perspective. And if you fight this battle steadfastly by turning up your true desires, that part will win. It will hurt, but, it hurts because an old part of you is dying off. It's being killed. A neural pathway is being, rearranged. And this little micro death, it hurts and everything, but the beauty is that it sets the stage for this micro rebirth. So you're constantly in this state of killing off the old and dead and dysfunctional parts of yourself while growing and cultivating this higher element of yourself so that it can be made more manifest in your thoughts, in your emotions, and in your actions. And the way that I see it, especially from the perspective of a man, is that like you got like this kind of holy warfare going on inside of yourself. And the goal is to free your natural masculine desires for sex, for status, for power. Free them from the trappings of vice. Free them from dysfunctional manifestations. And you do this by holding, the truth and the higher desire against the lies, deceptions, and impulses. And eventually, they do break free. You're able to use those desires as rocket fuel that drives you toward a higher plane of existence, a higher plane of operation. And it's a fight, but it's worth it. So that's it. Hopefully you found this video helpful, useful. If you did, please leave a comment, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me out a ton. And I'll be back here soon with another video. Let me know if you guys got any video suggestions of topics you would like me to cover. I can take this topic and expand it significantly and look at even how this refusal to enter into this cognitive dissonance state is what's driving a lot of the political chaos in the world today, between people hating each other and all that sort of thing. Or if you want to hear me talk about something else, let me know that too. But either way, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.